Luna's still an option as well. Those are very stable heroes for him. No option for the Dusa, as SMG very smartly banned that out, as that has been a consistent issue for a lot of teams to face up against. And again, we're still looking for that combination with the IO for SMG. We're still looking for maybe a bit more of an aggressive hero for Afu. They've got room for something like, say, Afu Shaker can still kind of fit in here for SMG if they wanted. It is, it does wait for the blink, and it will eat into the Storm's farm a bit if it does dip into jungle. Normally, Afu just takes a lane, so I don't think it's a big issue. And it can kind of set up, make that offlane a bit tougher. It is a bit more passive, but with the right hero combination with him and Raging, they can still be pretty aggressive. So we'll see what SMG does prioritize. First, they get the Jakiro, so there's some push on hand already, and they take the Shaker.
Wait.
There it is. So you have the Shaker. So what's our core hero here, huh?
That's my question for you, John. Who's playing core
Mid
here?
one IO?
Oh,
Are we going to have a mid one IO? Are we going to have a... No, actually, Raging Potato Shaker is something we've seen a lot.
Okay.
From his time in Filipino teams, right? He does run offlane Shaker at a very great level. So there is potential for that. It just feels weird taking that away from Afu, right? Like, that's a big thing. Sure, you'll have Raging Potato Shaker, but Afu Shaker just feels like... you can't split those two apart. Afu and Rich Shaker, they just go together. So we'll see what the play is. If they do run Afu Shaker, say, maybe a Pilot Eye Jakiro, Ayo safe lane for mid one could be something. Remember, the last time we saw it was maybe a year ago. I want to say almost 2 years ago, but maybe a year ago, I believe. Who was running it? Tito was running it safe lane, wasn't he? A couple of times, and I think Natsumi was doing it as well. It still had power, but it feels a bit removed from that time of core IO. We'll see what SMG wants. The safe play is support IO and just Raging Potato Shaker, but I want to see Afu Shaker, Mike,
Look, if you told me that SMG just had a stand-in that was named Anna, I would say, yeah, okay. Carry IO, I'd say that's going to be pretty cool. If it's not that, I don't have any faith in Carry IO. I'm thinking, Jonathan, either you're correct that it's a POS 3 Earthshaker, or alternatively, and hear me out, John, POS 3 Jakiro. POS 3 Jakiro, Jonathan. It sounds
I like
stupid.
that spice.
You like
I like
it?
that.
Okay.
I like it. It sounds stupid, but Veil timing for Jakiro is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You get a Rod of Atos, and then you just lock people in with the Macro Pyre. With a Veil, you will melt. Now, I think Orca's mitigated some of that impact with Life Stealer, and even Spirit Breaker with his Bulldoze. Stat Resist kind of ruins that. So it is tough to use that early power spike that Jakiro has. It could still be nice. It's not like Life Stealer levels up Rage very fast, right? Like we see that maybe a value point by 5. So you could get away with it. That is a spicy take. I'm liking this, Mike. You're getting all the dumb ideas. The idiocy of me is passing through. It's great.
It's not. Luckily, I haven't gotten to the stage where I'm starting to point out circles yet, Jonathan, though hopefully we never get that far into this insanity that is you and I as SMG. Final pick up here for them, and this should spell out what they're doing with this draft a little bit, I think. Wasn't there like POS 3 IO as well? At some stage, people running... it sounds so weird to say now, but I feel like we saw a game or two of POS 3 IO, and that was just kind of like, why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, I think we have seen a couple of that before. It's been a while since that one, way longer. I think SMG now, for their last pick, I'm still seeing Leshrac as a really good option. Again, as a quick-paced game, that will work, but up against a Life Stealer, that does get a bit tougher. So your scaling's not really there. A Razor would have fit, but Orca does ban it out. I mean, you could try an Ursa. We've seen IO Ursa recently. That could be the way to go. You have the option for Terrorblade yourself for SMG, and I don't mind that too much. They go to Quap instead. So Quap safe lane. Wait. Yeah, I mean, okay, the actual sane way to play this is Quap safe lane.
Yeah.
Shaker off, Jakiro support with IO support. The insane way to play this, the insane way is like, I want to say Shaker safe lane with IO and Quap off lane, because that's just a lot more aggressive. No, they're not going to go that wild. Mid one Quap.
It is 3 Jakiro.
Yeah. All right, so your insane idea passed through.
Well, I was going to say, Jonathan, I was about to interrupt you, that I think with this kind of draft, very fast-paced, very aggressive throughout the mid-game for SMG, but you are lacking push, right? Like, in terms of taking objectives, who's doing it? You've got a Jakiro to do it, Jonathan. Jakiro can get it done. Hell, you can even buy the shards up and you can get that, I don't even know what the spell's called because I never do pick it up, but it still does target towers and it does do a decent enough job of slowing it down and getting some damage out. So I don't know what the itemization's going to be here from Raging. I wouldn't mind seeing a Veil of Discord rush into something else. The problem I do see, and I know you've already said that you don't tend to level up Rage too early on and it's going to be a long cooldown. It is still Lifestealer against Jakiro on that off lane for SMG, and even later on, like, do you really have the means of dealing with VT Faded this game? Unless you finish this game and you dominate the map so hard, it feels like VT Faded eventually is going to be a massive, massive problem here for SMG, and that's not even counting GY on the offlane Spirit Breaker, who's going to be automatically a massive issue, and then you count the puck counter towards the Quap Storm, and even the IO. It's just... I'm questioning SMG's draft a lot, though I appreciate how entertaining this game one should be.
Yeah, I mean, I love their draft. I think on paper, you and I agree, Orca has a stronger draft. It scales great into late game. They've got great vision coming out from GY Spirit Breaker to just jump a Quap, jump the Storm Spirit. They've got the follow-through from the Inkswell on the Grimstroke, so it works out nicely. You love to see Citrus and High Spirits. Ajit and Afu, great friends, of course, so giving it to each other. Great fight. This is one of the rare fights as well, Mike. It's a Malaysia versus Malaysia Dota fight. Not something you see too often anymore.
We've got to find a name for that, John. I mean, if it's going to happen, we had the Rambulan for the Filipinos, John. We've got to find the Malaysian and the Indonesian names. But we'll figure it out after this, I'm sure. We'll find some names for them. We'll get some titles going. Still, I mean, SMG, again, very interesting draft. Poor old Arfu's been targeted here by Citrus. Of course, Citrus did make, you know, a funny joke about his name. I think everyone's made the same damn joke. It's the obvious joke.
Oh,
Not gonna give any credit to Citrus there. I mean, it's a very obvious one, Citrus. Gotta get a bit more creative.
Wait, Mike, before you go on, I want you to notice. We've got 2 Jakiros in the game.
Oh.
We've got 2 Jakiros.
God.
Oh no, how can we tell? I can't tell the portraits. I'm gonna be making so many mistakes now. 2 Jakiros.
Wow. Thank you, Jonathan. It's going to be a very confusing game for us now as we do go into it mid one. Going to be tethered there by Pylai Dai, though Pylai Dai might be looking to die a little bit too early this game. He does get away. Just loses quite a bit of HP, but he's going to be just fine. Oh, John, I'd hate to make it worse for you, but the 2 Jakiros are going to be laning against each other as well. This is going to get extra complicated, so I'm going to start with the bot. No, never mind Raging. He's rotating up top, which makes enough sense because Raging Potato does not want to fight against the Lifestealer during the lane. Because then Jakiro just becomes kind of a wasted pick, I feel like, for the laning stage.
Yeah, but look at VT Faded as well. He's walking up top as well, Mike. He wants to match that lane. He's pocketed his level 1. The musical lanes are in play, and this is a good shakeup. Remember the last time we saw unfavorable matchups? SMG didn't change their issue. This time they're willing to shift, or at least Orca and SMG are willing to shift. So let's see how much you lose out. VT Faded takes a while to cross that river, and GY is already charging cross. Early tri-lane out from SMG, though. They might want to at least find a kill on someone, as they can maybe get a good fissure block and run down with a tether here.
Well, they've got the fissure block and after great body blocks as well, just trying to make sure GY cops so much damage here. Tether is going to be there to slow the boot as GY is still copping that damage. Mid one does land the scream, but doesn't have the follow-up. With the salve usage forced out here from Menu Ping. And I'm wondering whether SMG want to bother trying to go for another lane swap here, but it doesn't seem like it. Seems like they're going to be okay with leaving Raging alone at this top lane against VT Faded and Yiv. That may work against them, though. Definitely a risky proposition here for SMG.
Yeah, I think the risk they're running on SMG is that solo Jakiro doesn't apply too much pressure. Yiv is still doing some good damage on Raging. VT Faded still finding a lot of farm. If you had some follow-through here for your Jakiro, there would be more threat. Like, even the Shaker up top, getting good fissure block off to land that dual breath out with the Liquid Fire is a lot of DPS. And so far, I mean, Raging's doing a good job solo, and VT Fade is still stuck level 1 because he wasted so much time walking. So I guess that works in favor of SMG. They're not losing too much. They're still applying that pressure onto that bot lane, but you're slowing down a Spirit Breaker. Then again, you're playing with a core scaling Quap, so I don't think farm is your priority. You really just want to get the aggression going, look for the kills, and start running down once those early level spikes present themselves.
to have a very short pause there from Citrus, but the go-ahead was there very quickly. While we are here, mid lane as well, Moon and Citrus going to be against each other on the Storm vs. Puck matchup. In fact, hold that thought, because bot lane GY, he's going to be able to TP in time, but top lane Raging, he is not. They do secure the kill, First Blood to go the way of Team Orca, and I kind of just talked about it, John. It was high risk from SMG. So far, this lane switch up is not paying off, and quite frankly, I don't think the aggressive tri-lane's paying off either.
No, it's not yet. They're losing EXP on Afu. That's the most painful part of running this tri lane. Shaker doesn't get to just soak up what he wants, and we know Afu loves to play a bit greedier in that Shaker as well. This is going to slow him down.
Twilight Eye is going to try and help Afu out with the overpower, but Afu is still getting bashed up. This time onto the high ground, so he's going to be able to survive. But this is not what you want from a tri-lane. You need to be the ones dominating that laning phase, and while mid one is still farming, GY is still just charging Afu, trying to secure this kill as Menu Ping's going for the small camp pull. He'll actually leave Afu alone. He just wants the pull and creep equilibrium to be fixed up. And I suppose this is one positive of this tri-lane, is they are able to just control where the creeps are. And without that small camp pull going on, GY, he is going to struggle just a little bit to CS. So they'll make the dive in again. Menu Ping might die for this, just trying to help out. Afu does have another Fissure and will land it very nicely as Menu Ping. He'll stick charge, he'll fire blast, but eventually he will die as GY tried to go back in and help his teammate out. But he's going to make it. In the meantime, however, Raging Potato gonna die a second time. This time BT Faded takes the kill.
Yeah, and your solo safe lane Jakiro's not quite paying dividends anymore, Mike. You do have the early earn up. I don't see any kill opportunity presenting itself. VT Faded has the early rage. They can just Inkswell run forward, get the kill every single time. I think SMG's gonna have to watch themselves running this lane. Raging Potato can't really run away. He has 290 move speed. Even with the slows on Yif, that's not too bad for the Grimstroke to gap close. And I think for SMG, yeah, they're keeping GY down. If you think about it, Birdbreaker doesn't farm too well, so his scaling into his initial items isn't going to come out, but they break that tri-lane. They drag Afu up top with the potential for the fissure blocks and the damage from Raging. You can make some plays onto Yif. VT Faded, a harder sell though. Like again, Rage is up, Mike. Lifesteal is just not here you can really play against at that point.
I mean, the lane still favors Orca. No matter who comes up here, VT Faded is going to be able to charge them down with the Inkswell from Yif, and even if it is Afu with the Fissure, it's not going to mean he's safe. As GY, speaking of safe, was in trouble down at bot lane, but once again gets away with the TP, and well, that's the one unfortunate part about sending Afu top, is you don't have a stun if they TP out of it.
You just can't lock in for the kills. Now, I think the one lane out of all this insanity that's been going well, Mike, has been Moon's lane up mid. We haven't really talked about it. Up against Citrus's Puck, he's been able to farm up. He's been able to take control of Rune's solo. This is a pure solo mid. No rotations from supports. And that's some good news for the side of SMG. We always talk about Storm needing very stable laning start. Go into the jungle, clear out some camps, build into the Kaya or the Orchid, whichever one you prefer here for Moon, and get running. And I think Moon has gotten that space out. With no pressure coming through, he's in a good state. You could argue Citrus can show up early with a Dream Coil and make things happen, and I think that's what we need to see from Orca as this game builds into that 10-minute mark. But this does favor SMG. Just having the security for Moon, knowing that your Storm is going to hit that early item timings, does allow you to be confident into your 15-minute mid-game kind of spike.
Afu can be caught here. Inkswell and Silence should land as Yif will just chase him down, and now with the slow out from BT Faded, that'll be Afu's life to go the way of the Life Stealer. I suppose Afu at least is tanking the gank here from Raging Potato, but it's still giving much golden XP back the way of BT Faded, and that's just never going to be good news if you are SMG.
It certainly isn't. And considering the build-up of Raging, and he's got that early earn, he might be going for an early Ulits. He does have the value Windlace, at least for some move speed out. Maybe Tranquils could be an option as well. Level 6 is up with a Macro Pyre. They don't really have a way of grouping up and playing around at. Like, you do have Fissure, that's it. That's it. Like, you don't have big team fight to tie in. It's not like you have Chrono. It's not like you have a Black Hole or Ravage or Taz on top of that. Or even Arena. So it makes it harder to work with that. Still charge.
This will be a big pick off, but they can't get the Silence in time. Instead, they'll have to focus down Pylai Die. They still get something for their time, but not quite the target they would have liked. So Yif was just a bit too far away with the silence to really just lock him down, but they might go now with the Dream Coil. They've got mid one again. The charge is there, bashes out, and that'll be more than enough. Citrus just making sure mid one could not survive this onslaught. Orca now 5-1. Net worth still the way of SMG, but only just barely.
Yeah, a lot of that is riding on Moons. I think considering what you're sacrificing to get the Storm a very safe game, it feels worthwhile, but you have to be worried about constantly bleeding out like this.
Fu gonna be caught here, and GY may not back off even with all the rotations. That is 4 heroes to rotate over, and all they're gonna find is a Spirit Breaker. I just don't know if I can call this worth it, Jonathan. Can they get a little bit more out of this? Maybe Yif, but he's gonna haste through now, so he's gonna be fine, and that's a whole team rotating down mid lane. I can't say that's worth for SMG.
This will allow them to group up for the push, and I think that's what we need to see coming out from Raging. Use the macro power to clear out a wave, stop a defense, use the liquid fire to melt the tower, and start applying pressure on some objectives to buy more space out for Moon and mid one to start scaling up. That is giving a lot of free room for VT Faded, but again, we're at the point where you don't really stop that life stealer, so it's time to make a move. We'll see if they will get the tower. The resources are coming through from Orca to kind of get that defense going.
But they are.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
TP's coming down now. Still many heroes from SMG to try and deal with, as Yif is maybe going to get spotted, and yeah, he will. Fish is going to be there. Fu with some good game sense. The silence is still going to make it in time, but is taken off. Nice start for SMG as they'll go for the dive in onto menu ping, but a great charge up from GY connecting on all 3 heroes, and the Dream Coil just going to catch Fu on that shaker, and he does not have 6, but the Sonic Wave going to take care of menu ping as GY now just going to TP out, is barely going to make it. So not a bad team fight for SMG this time, as they do trade one support for 2, and they should eventually be able to take care of this bottom tier 1.
And they're going to be able to get that tower that they really want. Orca are buying space out for VT Faded, but SMG's aggression is actually lining up. It looks bad in the kill board 7-4, but the kills they've been dropping haven't been the biggest, and Moon is still free farming on the Storm. So you are getting your win condition built up. Even mid one is number 2 in net worth, so him moving around has been paying off fairly well. And once this tier 1 bot falls, Orca has the same issue of push. They don't push all too well. They will group up with a smoke. No Dream Coil up though.
Oh, Moon, he's been bashed. The charge is there in time into the Inkswell onto 2 targets, and another bash on Moon, but he's not dead yet. The IO just keeping him alive, as now they'll turn SMG. They'll find Gift on that Grimstroke. That'll be 1. Pile die just making it too hard to deal with this Storm Spirit at the moment. Doing a great job on that IO, and I mean, Moon, he is still top of the net worth board. So while SMG have had some awkward lanes going on, in terms of net worth, they have still secured on the mid and the safe lane. And that is starting to slowly pay off.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the fast Kaya flying out here for Moon already, so he's going to do a lot more damage on the zip-in. And that's the big spike you're looking for on the Storm. With a sustain you're getting from Pilot Die, with a threat of relocate on top of that, they can be all over the map, and you've got to watch yourself right now if you are Orca.
VT Faded. Pops the rage very early on. Moon. Nah, he's too low on mana now. Just there to deny that tier 1 tower away is... What are you laughing about, John? What's so funny?
I had a bug, so VT Faded used the pig pole, but he didn't turn into a pig. It's just a lifestealer running really fast. It looked really awkward.
Well, mid lane. Raging. He's been caught. Dream Coil going to lock him down, but the relocate is going to be there from SMG to try and fight back. But now the Soulbind locking down to Fu. He cannot get the Echo Slam off. He was silenced the whole time. SMG, they'll just have to go back to that top lane, I think. In fact, it'll just be Pile Die. Moon will take over the mid lane. But Team Orca able to pay some payback here towards SMG.
Big set of kills. Only on the supports. But they are finding the aggression coming through, and they're holding onto their mid. If they lost that fight, it would have opened up the push from SMG, especially with the Jakiro, so they're just stopping that pace. They know the mid tier 1's pivotal here in this game, and are doing everything they can to stop that snowball effect from growing bigger. SMG, though, is still in a position to fight here, Mike, if they want to. Arcane Rune up on Moon as well, gonna help him out in the jumps in.
Still pushing that mid tier 1 tower. Veil actually up on menu ping now. I don't mind that. I think it's a great item for the Ogre to pick up. His charge is there. The Moon will jump in onto the Ogre, but with the Fire Blast and the Nether Strike out, they're trying to go onto Moon with the Ink Swell. They've got the lockdown, and well, Citrus, he will clean up the storm as the Echo has been committed onto Yif, but only Yif. On that Grimstroke, they will get the kill. I mean, it's something. It's still 2 supports for 1 core, but I think if you're Team Orca, you're happy with the storm kill.
And you're keeping Moon pinned down, stopping him from escalating. You managed to force a lot of spells out from SMG. Just not even having to worry about the slam now is going to open up even more defense plays from the side of Orca, and they're just teleporting back in. Menu ping shows back up, has the Bloodlust for the tower if he needs. They're going to clear out the creep wave, and the push stops once more. They do see VT faded though.
Yeah, but he's got the Rage TP away, and he is not going to be caught. Even with the level 2 Rage, it lasts long enough to get the full duration TP off. And this is something, again, we kind of brought up in the draft phase, right, John? Like, for VT Faded, there's just nothing for him to worry about right now. There's no way of dealing with him if he has a TP available. And Rage, he's always going to be able to get out. It's an awkward scenario for SMG, because at some point they are going to have to deal with VT. And right now, they just don't have an option.
They don't have a good cancel. Relocate play at the back though.
Menu ping. Oh, that's a great Tumbler's toy from Menu ping. We've seen him make work from this item before, but they are still going to make the jump in with the Fire Blast. Moon's gone too far. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, everyone's been controlled from SMG as Moon somehow still survives on the storm. Just barely. But Menu ping, I mean, he gets his Tumbler's toy item, John. He makes full use of it. As Raging is going to get taken out, and so will our Fu. So Team Orca, they are still able to catch a couple here, and they lose nothing.
Yeah, they do lose their mid-tier 1. So SMG does find the objective they want at the cost of 2 heroes. Citrus has the Invis, doesn't have the Dream Coil, so can't quite go for a solo pickoff. I think the trades are coming out very awkwardly for SMG. They're finding the map control they want, they're finding the objectives, but they're losing some of their heroes. They're stalling out this blink timing for Afu. Raging Potato still has had a better game than GY in comparison on net worth and levels. Our offlane Jakiro has had a bit of a better run than the offlane Spirit Breaker, which is concerning, but we talked about that Spirit Breaker earlier on, Mike, right? Like, if he has a slow start in lane, he doesn't really play in jungle well. And seeing that hurt GY's progression into the Shadow Blade, so that's something SMG has managed quite nicely. You still worry about VT Faded though. He's very confident, just runs up with the Inkswell. Storm is a bit too zippy for him to catch, but he's number 2 in net worth, not too far off from Moon. And if this game goes later and later, the Lifestealer just becomes this massive issue that SMG doesn't feel like they can deal with.
Mid lane GY, gonna be a relocate out as Raging does drop the Ice Path. The charge is there, GY. Can he pick it up? Not quite, he's just way too slow. Another slow motion charge here, this time from GY and SMG. They are able to successfully punish, as they are just hell-bent on protecting that mid-tier 1 tower here for the dire end. In fact, they found BT now, but he's got the Rage, he's got the TP, and they've got nothing to stop it. SMG, they'll have to just watch him leave.
That's just going to be the story of a game as it goes on, like, unless they really pile on multiple heroes, get a good jump in, maybe get a Hex out. Probably the best bet they have. Still going to force the fight here.
Nice jump in from Moon, but the puck is out as they're going to try onto Menu Ping instead, and they've got a fair bit of damage onto the Ogre, but now the Dream Coil and the Soulbind going to catch 2. Big Sonic Wave out from mid 1, but the charge is there. GY, he goes right through both of them, in fact, make it a 3rd. Afu to go down. Mid 1, he is still trying to fight back, but they're onto Pylai Die now on that IO, and that should be the 4th target to drop here from SMG. Mid 1 tried his best to salvage something from this terrible situation. Hell, as long as he gets out with his own life intact, he might be happy. And GY, he won't get that lucky with the bashes.
You're still finding that win coming out for Orca now. They're finding bigger kills. They're getting some punishment off for the aggressive relocates. The control from Orca is just too much. They've got a lot of silences. They've got a lot of good stuns. They've got the Dream Coil for area control. They've got the charge in a line to get even more control. And for SMG, they really need a Shaker blink up. It's still a ways off for off. We relocate out onto GY though.
Charge away. And mid 1 tries to stop. Moon gonna try as well, but the charge is just too strong. And that's gonna be so frustrating, right? Like you're zipping towards him and you still get bashed mid-zip. It's just too much.
What can you do? You know, it's one of those things. You have to find a really good angle, close enough to get the vortex. Very tricky up against that Spirit Breaker. I think for SMG, they're really reliant on this fast-paced lineup, Mike, to take objectives. I mean, they've found two. They've been dropping some fights, which is of concern. VT Faded is now #1 in net worth from Orca. And he went for a Sanjin Yasha, so he's got a lot of status resist, pinning him down so hard. Moon's got to be cautious there.
Yeah, he thought he was trying to be baited here by Yif, but now he's just caught in the Dream Coil with the Inkswell follow-up. It may just be enough, and it will be. Great setup there from Yif and Citrus. It's towards the north. Another fight breaking out. Arfu, he will also drop on the Shaker. They're going to try and fight back, though, this time around as VT Faded. No, he'll just go for the Infest onto Menu Ping, and they might get the Ogre, but the rest of the team is making their way over to try and help VT Faded as now Pylai Dai has been caught on that IO. He's gone mid-one, just trying to get this silence off him, but he can't do it. He cannot get it off in time. And Raging Potato, the last piece of the puzzle here for Orca. He'll be charged up. Ice Path will stop them in their tracks, however, so it won't be a full team wipe yet, though Citrus is still trying. And with the Witch's Blade, they might just have enough, and they will. Full team fight to go the way of Team Orca. And just nothing's going right for SMG right now, John. A very, very tough position. Moon? Oh, he found GY at least. That's something. Not a bad kill for Moon.
Yeah, not bad at all. He does have a full Kaya Sanj. He's going onto the Orchid Net, so that could be the control piece they need, Mike. Just having that silence to jump VT Faded, to jump the puck, Citrus, and lock him in and burst him down is going to be a massive help. He's going to need some time to farm that up, though, and he's just going to have to sit back for a bit, build up. That will align as well with Afu's Blink, being only about 400 gold away. So you're going to have this great initiation coming out from Afu. You can follow through now very nicely with a macro pyre and just start melting faces. So SMG still has some items to wait for that will give them some greater presence, but Orca's got the 4K lead. VT Faded's becoming a massive issue. Even our puck with a blink up, keeping Citrus pinned down is a hard sell. And think if SMG don't start finding some fights into objectives, using that Jakiro's presence for the team fights into the push, you're going to be lacking a lot more than that.
GY going to get caught. At least allowing mid-one to blink away as he was spotted. Team Orca just going to take over this dire jungle for now. Infestors there on GY, so they might want to try and force a fight. The smoke has been committed. They just need the vision. Had eyes on Afu for a second, but they won't be able to get that charge in time. Scan, though, is out on Raging Potato, and that'll be a better target to go for. They do get the charge off. It's a nice quick charge as well, and Raging, he will have no time to react. Afu, I believe in the meantime, did at least have his blink up now. So you would at least have that going for you if you're SMG. Now, you've got that counter fight.
Yeah, you've got some initiation, you've got some good jump to follow through with your Storm. I think what we need to see next is not just Moon's Orchid coming out, the BKB is going to be necessary, and honestly, it feels like you need the Jakiro Ags here. Like that pure damage on Macro Pyre, the duration, making it at level 18, basically 50% uptime, is going to be big. That's a long way to go, and that's a lot of farm you're going to have to invest in a Jakiro, who is a core. It just feels weird having to say that, Mike. We'll see if they will get Raging Potato the space he needs. I think the one thing with SMG is that all of these heroes do need some farm to keep scaling into that late game. And we're starting to reach that point. It's still mid-game now, but give it 10 minutes and your control, your damage for VT Faded, again, it just feels like it's going to fade.
Nice button, John. VT Faded. You knew what you were doing there, too. I don't know why you laughed at yourself.
No, I actually don't think of it. I just say stuff. It doesn't even process in my head.
They've got an Orchid now, though, John. VT Faded. This time around, might not be able to get that rage off. Moon's got the Orchid up. That might be the turning point for SMG, but there's going to be a smoke-on-smoke situation as Orca's going to run right into SMG, and SMG on the low ground, but Moon still going to zip up and break the opposing smoke. But this is not the fight SMG wanted, and now Citrus will jump in onto Pylai Dai, trying to burst down that support IO. They haven't got him quite yet, but they've got the Soul Bind into the double remnant. Still nobody being caught, but BT Faded will rush in as mid one will do the same onto the supports. They've got menu ping down, but they might have Raging on the other side of things. And that'll be a Pons 3 Jakira to die. As Nether Strike has been committed onto Moon. Meanwhile, mid one finding the second support of Team Orca now in the form of Yif. BT Faded is getting kind of kited around right now. Citrus, top lane, in trouble, but is going to be able to make it out as Orca now looking to reinitiate. Moon, he is pretty much almost out of mana, still just trying to abuse that Soul Ring, and with the TP out, he might make it as the Echo Slam. Arfu going to buy a bit more time, so Moon can TP and get a reset, but they might lose more. Mid one has been bashed up and does go down. They could not save him. Nice little save from Arfu, but that's about all that went right there for Team SMG. Well, Team Orca now, they'll go into that Roshan pit. And unless Moon can pull off an Age of Steel, it should be a free Roche to go the way of the Radiant.
Raging Potatoes around. He does have the Ice Path and Mac, so he can threaten. Could force staff in and try to make a play of it. It's a tough call for a Jakiro. They are angling though in SMG.
Ice Path is there, but no. Aegis is already out. VT Faded. Popping the Rage preemptively. GY. No, he'll just go for a charge across the map. They were trying to catch him with that Fissure, but Arthur was just out of range. They may still make their way over though. Pings are out towards that bot lane, but GY is just going to TP immediately. No messing around with the Spirit Breaker, he's out of there. And so it does remain a 6k net worth lead for Team Orca. 25 to 14. And hell, they might even smoke again. All grouped up in the mid lane. I mean, why the hell not?
Yeah, they've got the Aegis. They can look to play aggressive. The Scotty's coming out for VT Faded. He's going to be a lot tougher to kill off. Not that he isn't already. We do manage to find a good target to charge on.
They've got Raging Potato. I'll tell you, John, this Pons 3 Jakiro, it's a nice idea, but it certainly is just not proving to pay off yet. There's another charge is there. Who have they got? Well, they found mid one, but they're charging Pile Die on that IO. They really don't want that support IO to be around to help mid one stay alive. But both get away by the tier 2 tower. Team Orca might be able to start moving into that mid tier 2 now. It'll be a bit of a slow process, but not too slow for BT Faded. His charge is out. Pile Die, he shows the map, and Citrus will just take him out.
Nice kill to take, opens up that push onto tier 2. Moon is trying to pressure the bot tier 2 himself with the DD. Doing a good job. His next creep wave is going to come in. It doesn't look like Orca will want to really defend. So you should be able to trade on SMG. I just thought of a couple of ideas here, Mike. If this does go into a high ground defense, SMG is in a really good spot. Of course, Macropyre is a really great defensive tool for your objectives. Down the line, you could get the Ags up on Moon. And that will just lead to so much control. So much damage coming through with a Macropyre. I think that might be the game plan for SMG towards the late game. They missed the dust onto GY. The push is held back with another creep wave dying. So we'll see if Moon will fully commit as their top tier 2 is under threat now.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning.
Scan out. There's your macro dropped. Orb to try and scout out where Raging's going, as Menu Ping is going to see him, but they just can't close the gap. I mean, you're still going to be able to get that tier 2 top tower, though. And that's just fine for Team Orca. They don't quite have a Roshan to play for, but they could certainly force another fight down bot if they want. The TPs are coming to set up, as Citrus is already here. Problem is, nobody's left around from SMG. Everyone does leave the area. Now, I do like that idea that you came up with, John. I mean, you know, AoE Vortex into Macropyre into Ice Path. It makes sense. You even got that big Sonic Wave at the end and the Echo Slam, but it feels like we're a while away off that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's still a ways off. Like, the Ags for Raging, he has been farming up and he's been given space to do so. We just get the fresh BKB on Moon, so he could maybe itemize towards the Ags now if you wish. And mid one is still kind of keeping up in farm. All of them are really lagging behind VT Faded. Like, everyone else is still pretty equally farmed. except Raging falling behind GY, but BT Faded has pulled away big.
He caught the Echo Slam, Arfu committing it, but it wasn't enough for GY, and now GY's going to try and turn. Sonic Wave, though, does take him out. Citrus, he'll try to back for a little bit and reset. In the meantime, here comes that Life Stealer from the backside onto Arfu, but they've got Citrus down. A big pick off here for SMG, as maybe they could really take this fight, but Menu Ping, he's caught out the Quap. Mid one, he'll blink away. So it's a pretty good team fight for SMG. They found the puck, they found the offlane SB, and somehow they managed to get everyone but Arfu out of there. Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's a good set of trades coming out from SMG. The unfortunate thing is they don't really manage to clear out the tier 2 bot, but they are still in a position to force a fight. Moon's still ready to go.
Yeah, he might find Yip, and does, with the Orchid Vortex. That'll be more than enough to take care of him. BT Faded, he cannot really get close enough to help him out or find a revenge kill. It is still a Life Stealer who does tend to get kited extremely easily. And so SMG, they're finding pickoffs, they're showing signs of life. Still a long way to go in this game number 1 though.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to still work on some farms, still working to build up the Raging.
Spark will be there, Macro Pie to be dropped. GY, charge up in 1 second. He's going to pop the BKB and he will just go for the charge. He knows something's wrong. I believe the ward did scout out mid 1 and Arfu rotating up towards the top. So he even finds a regen rune just in case he didn't feel like going back to the fountain today. Still in the meantime, Moon does get that T2 bottom tower. The Menu Ping is setting up to try and scout out and just fire blast Moon, but no, he's fine.
Yeah. That's what they need on SMG. They need some objectives. They need to get some gold going for the entire team, get some space going on the bot jungle if they want to play there, and force responses out from Orca. Orca's still in a good position to be aggressive. They've got the infest on GY here.
They do, and they're going to charge right in. No, GY, he will cancel. Not looking to go near that tier 3 tower yet. To be fair to them, SMG, they did have some help around for mid 1 had he needed it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Orca, they'll go for the outpost. So a long way away for that Roshan, and they are still looking very desperate to try and get another fight going. Here we go, another charge out towards the top lane, but it was not on a hero. Still GY, gonna spot out Raging Potato. They might be able to at least find this pos 3 Jack, and they will. Raging's gone, BT Faded to take his 11th kill of the game on this Life Stealer. SMG, there's just nothing they could do about it, and GY's not done. He wants Moon. Much harder of a kill to try and secure, especially with all the help around, and they know GY's coming. They do avoid the charge in, as Moon now will turn back around, but has he gone too far? Nether Strike is out, still Sonic Wave to try and help out the Soulbind. BKB though committed in the relocate. During the BKB of Moon, it may not be the greatest of timing. It's Moon now, I don't know if he can keep fighting. Menu Ping will be able to walk away with the Glimmer Cape as BT Faded moves back in onto the Storm, but realizes he can't hold him down, so instead he's back onto Parlay Dai, who does have the Ghost Scepter to be able to avoid all that damage. Nice set of events here from SMG, but just, I think that relocate with the BKB out from Moon kind of just put a spanner in the works, and they just could not continue.
Yeah, it kind of broke the momentum off of SMG. It felt like they might have been able to find more in that spot. To be fair, they were kind of limited. Soulbind was out, so maybe they just felt like didn't want to risk just having to be kited around and just cut their losses there. You would just wait for the next BKB, charge in then. And that does give Orca time to group up again. They are still stuck as 3 down mid. They're keeping that lane shoved in. Don't really have any towers to go for. Next rush is spawning up in 20 seconds, or we'll see in 20 seconds when that timer is. And that could put Orca in a really good position to take that rush. SMG still has some fight left in them though. The slam is ready on Afu, he just needs a good angle. And if they do manage to work that out, SMG could also easily clear out Roshan with the Jack, and with the damage they have coming through from mid one, they can still make short work of that. So it's a back and forth. Orca will just play it safe, play in that top jungle. 40-second respawn, they will go for a smoke plate out.
They will. No infest yet from VT Faded, as GY is not there to give him that option. Save it for later on. Without GY though, or at least Citrus and GY, you can't really hope to take care of mid one. So Orca, they know the Quap's around bot somewhere, but they're having troubles deciding who they really want to go on. GY, though, now going to spot somebody out with that Shadow Blade. It's going to run into Pylai Die, and that's something. Not quite the kill you would have hoped for, but you'll be forced to take it as Orca. And I suppose they could still get that bottom tier 1 tower, so they get a bit more. Bit of a cherry on top. Hell, maybe they even go for the bottom tier 2 tower. I mean, why the hell not?
Not much to stop them. There is a macro part to at least de-shove away from Raging. And he does have the Ags up, Mike, so pure damage Mac. Lower cooldown, or longer duration, and it's going to allow him to really dish the damage out if they got control.
Well is there, but they got the Orchid onto BT. Still, he's fine to go back in onto Moon, but no, he wants mid 1. Mid 1? Interesting blink. BT faded. Gonna get this shit up, but not gonna amount to too much. So invest into Citrus. Keep in mind though, John, they have the Ags Dream Call available here on Citrus, so he should still want to go for a fight. Can he find mid 1 though? Fish is going to stun up the park. Team Orca, they did not have the vision they wanted in that die triangle to really lock them down that time around. So SMG narrowly able to avoid a bad team fight for themselves. So I think had that Dream Core landed on either Moon or the Quap mid 1, you would have been looking to be in big trouble as SMG. Speaking of big trouble though, Roshan about to be surrounded by 10 different heroes, John, which is not very fun for her. Or him. Depending on which one, what Roshan is.
Yeah, we don't know. Could be either or. They are surrounded though, and it looks like Orca is in a prime position to take it, but we'll force a fight first.
Yeah, nice nether strike into mid 1. They're just going to blow up that Quap, and they got him. That's your pos 1 gone immediately. There was a Dream Claw to try and lock down Moon and Pylai Die, but nobody was there to back them up. BT faded, trying to close the gap on somebody. Does end up finding Raging Potato, but mid 1, he's brought back into this team fight. He really wants to make something happen for his team as a big Sonic Waves there in the Echo Slam. Was committed, but they still lose the Jakiro. Mid 1, he's not really doing the damage right now. BT faded is still just the leading heroes at the moment on this life stealer as Afu. He will be the 3rd one to drop. They are still buying back, but mid 1, he might die back here. And no, he is saved by Pylai Die. The Ignite's still going. Mid 1 still burning out, but he's going to survive on 40 HP. Pylai Die with that tether, barely saving the life and the dieback of the Quap.
Yeah, massive play coming out from him, but issue still stands. Roche is still open for Orca. And BT Faded still in the prime spot to take it, so they're just going to go back in, take Roshan. Not the fastest, but not the slowest, especially with the Bloodlust coming through from Minyo Ping, so they'll make short work of it. SMG fully reset. They can just zip in here with Moon. No BKB up for a few seconds. Enough time, though.
Oh, that's off the mark. Wasted here, Moon. Getting 1 spell expended, so Orca now might have to second guess whether they really want to try and this as Moon. Keeps zipping in and out, looking for that Aegis still. He's gone in. Moon, it's on the deck. He's got a mid 1. He takes the Aegis away. They're going to lose Moon for this, however. And mid 1's been trapped up with the silence out. He is locked down. Isha, by a bit of space in mid 1. He'll pop the BKB and just TP out of there. So a nice Aegis steal from SMG, but they're going to lose their Storm Spirit. And I suppose for Orca, you lose that Aegis, but you still get something in return.
Still find a lot. You still find a shard as well. Freebie going out here on the side of Orca. Citrus just kind of holding onto it for now. Pass it on to GY with another strike. That could be pretty big in keeping the momentum going with that another strike. Well, they've got room to go onto the high ground. Again, with VT Feeded's damage, it doesn't take too long. But Raging is back up. Max level macro fire. Pushing is going to be tough with the Ags up once he tosses that out.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Try and slow him down. Mid 1 jumps in. Afu, he's there. The perma-stun is out, but it's not going to be enough. BT faded. He's already healed up with that Satanic, and now they'll just move in. That's Jakiro gone. Meanwhile, Pylai Die does at least get mid 1 out of there, but that's your relocate down now. And Afu's forced to buy back. No matter how much they stun up BT faded, he just pops that Satanic and is able to completely recover. Not to mention, he always had the armlet toggling and the infest available to him whenever he wanted. That'll be top racks gone. SMG, they have no option but to just watch it drop. This Moon does finally respawn up, but it's already too late.
Yeah, they just need to hold for the rest of the racks.
Oh,
They can't
boy.
get Mega yet.
Oh, this could be bad. Nether Strike mid one. He's targeted the charges there. GY sets up a dieback onto mid one. Great setup from Orca. There's now Silence does connect onto Moon, but he has a BKB up. He should be okay. But now you've got a second core down with that buyback for SMG. And Team Orca, they'll know about this. They'll head back up to the high ground.
And nothing to stop them. Macropire will be there, but we've seen it before. It's just not enough. Like, the combination's not there, Mike. Afu does have the slam ready. We need to find a really good angle to force a fight here.
They do. They've been Echo committed, but there's no damage output. BT faded will just turn right back around. Ask him what the hell he was thinking. As Moon does at least get Yift down, but Raging now in trouble again. Will pop the Ghost Scepter. He's going to be able to buy himself a bit of time and space to get away. And it seems like Orca, do they want to keep going? They'll miss another Dream Coil onto Moon. And it seems to be the target they really want to take down. The BT will move back in with the Nullifier. Even tipping out Moon as now the Nether Strike comes in. GY's caught him. It's the classic tip bait, John. I think we saw this yesterday or the day before from Orca. They tip somebody and then they move in. And it's almost like a little distraction play from Orca that we don't get to see very often.
Yeah, it's pays off, and now Pilot Eye is going to be following Raging. Last man stand. GG is called. I mean, I appreciate what SMG tried to do there, Mike. You know, the off-lane Jakiro coming out. They start off with IO Storm. I think that maybe was where a lot of the issues stood for SMG. It's not like they got directly counterpicked, but Orca read what they wanted to do from that draft. You know, they expected relocate plays to come out. They expected some aggression. They go with an early lane swap to counteract what was happening from SMG. And SMG ran that aggressive tri-lane and just left Raging Potato alone. Sure, the first 2-3 levels were going fine, but once that rage was up, once you went 1-1-1 on the Lifestealer, you couldn't do much. And even with the Ags coming out from Raging, which we were saying needed to come out, they didn't have the combination there with Moon with, say, the control. You needed Vortex, and even then, the damage wasn't that high. So the investment just didn't feel worthwhile. We'll have to see SMG change it up for game 2, Mike, but Orca played well.
Yeah, they certainly played great, and unfortunately the Pos 3 Jakiro does not pan out for SMG, but we'll see what other tricks they have up their sleeve for game number 2. Sure, there'll be a very entertaining draft to come out from SMG for that second game. Still, we are going to head to a very short 10-minute break, and after that 10-minute break, we'll be back with game 2 between Team Orca and SMG.